The New York Jets just acquired five receiver in Davante Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders. Are they still going to be bad at football, or does this make them a Super Bowl contender, a serious Super Bowl contender? You tell me. But from my point of view, I don't know. I don't know, if I'm being completely honest. I've been going back and forth on it all day. And as I'm preparing for this video, I've been looking at the stats, from just the New York Jets this season, last season, Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers together in Green Bay. I mean, there's a lot of things to take in. And of course, we're never really going to know until we watch the game of football. But it's always fun to speculate, give predictions, give projections, all that good stuff. And so that's exactly what we're going to do today. But first, let me know in the comments what you think initially and at the end of the video. Let me know what you think about Davante Adams going to the New York Jets. Does it make him a contender or not? Put it down below. My thoughts. My first thought is no team is going to get worse by adding a top 5 receiver of all time, especially with a quarterback he already has chemistry with, and not just chemistry, but was one of the most successful duos in recent history. All right, when we talk about players who have been in the league since 2013, 2014, Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are at the top of the list, up there with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady. All right, you get it. This is one of the most efficient, effective, and explosive quarterback-receiver duos that we've seen recently, right? And now it's back together. Now Aaron Rodgers is a little bit older. Davante Adams is on the back half of his prime. And it's in New York with a little bit of different circumstances than Green Bay, right? They're not the best offensive line, but I'd say this is a better defense that they've ever had when they were in Green Bay together. So you got to take that into account. But also, not just, hey, we have Davante Adams. Don't forget, Garrett Wilson is still a top NFL receiver. I wanted to put a number on it, but I don't know if I could. I should have thought about that. Is Garrett Wilson a top 10, top 15 NFL wide receiver? I feel like he's top 10. I'm going to say that. So now you have a top 5 and a top 10, so both top 10 receivers on both the outsides. Then you still have your Allen Lazard, all right? You still have your receiving backs in Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, who have both done really well in the receiving game. But that brings me to point number 2. Davante Adams does not fix the running game almost at all. Now, does it put less pressure on the running game if your passing game is doing super well? Yeah, look no farther than the Colorado Buffaloes in college football, right? I mean, they have absolutely no running game, but Shedeur Sanders is still throwing for 400 yards to keep them in football games. And are they winning all those games? Well, they're what, 3-3? So, not doing too bad for themselves, but they're not college football playoff contenders in my eyes. We're talking about Super Bowl goals here. Davante Adams is not going to turn this team into a top half rushing team. The New York Jets are currently sitting at 22 in total offense, including 15 in the passing game, and these are ranked amongst the league, right? 22 out of 32, 15 out of 32, and then in the rushing game, they are 30 out of 32. They are the 3rd worst team in all of football in running the football, with a guy like Breece Hall, which is crazy to me. Just looking at their let's rewind a little bit. All right, now week 1, the New York Jets go on Monday Night Football in San Francisco, take a loss after putting up what looked like a really good drive and scored a touchdown. They failed to score again against those 49ers. Or they failed to put the ball in the end zone again against the 49ers. But that's the Niners, right? They were just the last NFC Championship team. All right. They're known for an elite defense. Cool. Then week 2, week 3, they pick up a couple wins. All right. Now the Jets are looking good. 2-1 sounds a lot better, right? And since then, they've proceeded to lose 3 straight to the Denver Broncos, Minnesota Vikings, and now on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. Those hurt. 3 losses in a row always hurts, especially when you're considering that the quarterbacks you just went up against were Bo Nix and Sam Darnold, and then Josh Allen without any receivers. Okay? So, and it just always hurts to lose to an AFC East or an in-division rival. But 3 losses. All right, what happened in those 3 losses? Well, against the Minnesota Vikings, Aaron Rodgers decided to throw 3 interceptions. That didn't help. Can Davante Adams help with that? Sure. A ton? Probably not. All right. Then against the Denver Broncos, the offense failed to score double-digit points. You're not going to win very many games when you fail to score double-digit points. And that's what happened. They lost 10-9. Some of that was field goal kicking, all right? Some of that was people missing their routes, missing their dropping balls, whatever. But Aaron Rodgers is not MVP, not one of his 4 MVP Aaron Rodgers anymore. He has been in more pain than we've seen him play through probably ever, at least consistently. And he's at obviously the oldest time of his career, right? The man is pushing 40, or is 40. It is very, very difficult to do the things that an MVP caliber quarterback does. He's not that anymore. We understand that. I still think he is an elite level quarterback throwing the ball. But when you take away his scrambling, which has been very much limited this year due to last season's Achilles injury, a pretty crappy offensive line, and honestly, the offensive line isn't as bad as I thought it was. It is still ranked 6th in the NFL, but their rush or their run blocking is just awful. And the only reason it's ranked so high is because they've got some quality names who are not meshing together to give Rodgers the protection that he needs. And also, Rodgers is doing an okay job of getting the ball out quickly. And that is huge, right? Getting the ball out quickly, especially if you can complete it for completions, attaboy, and then get some momentum, pick up your first downs, and that's not going to get any more difficult with Davante Adams, right? That is going to be so much better than it already was, especially since they do already have that chemistry. Now it's going to take a second to get that back, sure. Do I expect them to go out guns blazing, looking like the most dynamic offense in the NFL against the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road? Absolutely not. It's a great defense there in Pittsburgh. We know that. TJ Watt's going to be hunting down Rodgers all day long, and they've got a good secondary as well. So it's going to be rough. But I think that the passing game is going to get better, relieving some of the pressure off the running game. But the bottom line is that offensive line does not improve. Neither is the New York Jets. The football games, we talk about playmakers. We talk about the Davante Adams, the Garrett Wilsons, the Breece Halls, the Aaron Rodgers. We talk about the defensive side of the ball. We talk about the Sauce Gardners, the Quinton Williams, the Quincy Williams. You got it, right? But we don't always talk about the big boys up front, which is a darn shame because the big boys up front are the people who win football games. If you have a great offensive line, you are probably in a pretty good position to win football games. That's how the Dallas Cowboys won a lot of regular season games. Problem is that playmakers couldn't step up enough in the playoffs to change that, or injuries, whatever. For the New York Jets, that offensive line is ranked higher than it should be. Statistically, they are ranked higher than it should be. They are not that great. And in the eye test will tell you that every single time you watch the New York Jets. Whether you have to watch Rodgers flush out right way before he should, or you see Rodgers take a sack, or you see Breece Hall only picking up a yard on a stretch play or an inside zone, it doesn't matter. That line is not controlling the line. They are not winning the trench battle. And Davante Adams is going to help get the ball out quicker and going to get more explosive plays when Rodgers does have time. But bottom line is the New York Jets do not have a good enough offensive line to be Super Bowl contenders. And that is it. That is the bottom line. Aaron Rodgers is not MVP-esque enough to make up for it anymore. In Green Bay, he made up for it for a lot of years. But he cannot make up for it any longer. His body is taking a toll, and it is hindering his game. What did you expect from a 40-year-old man? Come on now. Come on now. Davante Adams is still a great addition, don't get me wrong. I'll say it time and time again. But I don't know. I just don't see you winning the tough games on the road, in the playoffs, the high pressure situations, if you're not winning the trench battle consistently. And they're not winning it hardly at all. So, yes, they have all the talent in the world at the skill positions, none on the offensive line, and that's going to be the doom. But you let me know. What do you think? I could be wrong. It's happened a time or two. I could be wrong. But I'm a big fan of offensive linemen, and that's showing here today. Do you think Davante Adams helps the New York Jets get into the conversation for Super Bowl contender? You let me know. But for right now, I'm sticking with what I got, and I want to see your comments down below, and I'll be there.